Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Mid-Tenn Overland. As you can tell behind me, my truck no longer has a bed rack. I just decided this overland hobby just not for me. Time to take up a new hobby like reading or underwater basket weaving, something less expensive. I'm totally kidding. We just have a new bed rack going on the truck. This is from TRUKD. We met them at the Southeast Overland camping event, checked out their bed rack on their Tacoma. We'll put that footage in this video. I was very impressed with what I saw, and while I was out there, I just decided I needed a taller bed rack. And the TRUKD bed rack is significantly taller than the Barricade that I had, and it seems like it's higher quality as well. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Went ahead and upgraded to their bed rack. We're gonna get it unboxed, get it installed so we can go camping this weekend, and we'll do a full review of the initial setup. All right, I'll show you how they package everything up. It'll come with a barcode on one of the labels, which is awesome. That has all of your install instructions in it. And they have your name here, how everything was packed, what it's for, all of that. Pretty cool. This is all of the hardware for the hinge kits, and here are the rails. We're gonna get that set up. I got the hinge kits for this and accessory panels. I'm waiting on the accessory panels still because they're a smaller company. It takes them a little while to manufacture this stuff. Should be, I think, the end of the month before I get them, but we're gonna go ahead and set up everything else, the rails, the hinge kits, all of that. And we'll get the accessory panels, like I said, in probably about a month. All right, here is all of our hardware. And it came with a sticker. When you spend this much money, you want to get a sticker, am I right? Okay, your first step is to take these bolts out of bag 3 and pre-install them into the riser bracket like so. I'll give you a better look at these bolts. 6 per riser bracket. All right, your next step will be to take these mounting brackets and attach them to the crossbars like this. They just slide in, and then you tighten them down, and then it'll go on the beams like so. I would not tighten down these because you obviously need to move that to get your spacing for where you want the crossbars to be set. That's it so far. We're gonna go ahead and do the other side now. So to install these rising brackets into the cross beams, basically all you'll do is put in 6 bolts on each side, and you have to turn the square to where it fits into these grooves like that. Do the same thing on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that or not. Hopefully you can. And then same thing here. And there you go. And then you can adjust it for whatever width you need. I'm just gonna leave it like that for now and do the other side, and then we'll get it on the truck and get it all positioned. All right, one of the last steps is to install this rail mount. You will use the bolts from bag 2, which look like that. And we moved over here to the yard so we don't scratch it up. We're going to flip it upside down so we can mount that. So we're going to go ahead and do that on both sides and then get it put on the truck. All right, and we've got it on here. One thing to note, on a 2021 F-150 or similar year, you're going to want about 9 inches from this bolt to the end of the rail. That way it fits on the bed accordingly. We didn't do that at first, which cost us a little bit of time. We had to take it off, push them back a little bit to make it all even, but other than that, it was a pretty simple install. One thing I'm not sure I'm a fan of, just the placement of these bolts to mount to the bottom of the bed rack. I don't like how the threads are facing up. I can just imagine reaching into your bed rack, catching your skin on that. Probably wouldn't be the best time, but that's really the only complaint. We're gonna go ahead and finish up the install though, and to do so, we're gonna mount the bed rack to the bed. To do that, you'll use these, and they will just slide up underneath the lip of your bed like that, and then you tighten it down. This is, of course, unless you have like a rail system or something like that, they do sell what you'll need in order to mount to that. I don't have that, so I just use these universal brackets, and that'll work. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, get the tent on here, and then we will be done. All right, and we are done. It took about 2 hours after we figured out the proper spacing of the arms and everything, but I gotta say, first impressions, I like it. I love the height of it. That is what I was going for. You can see how much higher it is. The awning is a lot higher up, which is perfect. And there's a lot more room between the top of the tailgate and the bed rack itself. Prior with the Barricade, I could barely fit kayaks in here, so it's nice to have that extra clearance. And plus it's gonna allow me to be higher up off the ground and have the awning fully open at its full height. So that's great. First impressions of this thing, it's super sturdy. The finish is great. Not a very difficult install, a little time consuming. As long as you get the right measurements, you should be fine. Like I said earlier, for the spacing, you're gonna want about 9 inches between the end bolt and the end of the rack itself. But again, I'm pretty impressed with it so far. It made it look like a normal bed rack to you right now, and it is in a lot of ways, but once we get those hinge kits and everything installed, which those are coming, that'll be another video, it'll look a lot better. I think that's the thing that really stands out to me about this bed rack is how modular it is. So once we add those things in, you'll start seeing that, but the base bed rack itself, pretty solid. All right, first night, first camping trip with the TRUKD bed rack, and I am very impressed. We hit some pretty rough roads out here in LBL, and one of the things I wanted to test was how loud this would be driving off road, and it was very quiet. Not a lot of rattling at all, no squeaking at all, which is great. Another thing I noticed as well, as I was tossing and turning in the tent, I didn't hear the bed rack squeaking. On the barricade bed rack that I had on this F-150 prior, which is now on the Silverado, I noticed every slight move I made. It was pretty loud. That was one thing that drove me to get rid of the barricade and upgrade. The other thing was the height of this bed rack. There's a lot of companies that make bed racks, but like I said, we met TRUKD at the Southeast Overland Camping event, and they kind of sold me on their product with the modularity, which we'll get to in another video, but this added height has definitely come into handy. So every time we go out, I take these kayaks with me, and I really needed something I could fit these kayaks under. The barricade, it just didn't work. If I hit a bump, sometimes it would actually break the bolts on the barricade with those 3 kayaks stacked in. So I needed something taller to give me clearance from the top of the tailgate to the bottom of the bed rack, and this accomplished that. It's about cab height. It'll make it a little bit challenging to put a roof rack on. Like you can see how the tent hangs over a little bit, but that's a tomorrow problem. First impressions on this TRUKD bed rack, great. Love the finish. It's very quiet, very sturdy. Very pleased with it so far. We've got some other things coming as well. We have the accessory panels and the hinge kits, so we'll do another video on that. But like I said, first impression with this, it's definitely worth the money. They are a little pricey. I would say that's the only real knock on it, but if you've been in the overland hobby for a while, you know you get what you pay for. And sometimes paying for something like a bed rack, you need to put a little extra money into. So that's what we did. Absolutely worth it. Like I said, great people and great product. Save yourself 5% if you do want to buy something from TRUKD. Use our code below, Mid-Tenn, at checkout, and it'll save you 5%. But we've got some more videos on the way. Probably in the next couple of weeks, we'll get the hinge kits put on. We'll share that install video with you as well, and we'll keep going from there. But thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.